Hi, my name is Garrett Weidig, and today I'm going to start out with a joke. So, what did Batman say to Robin before they got in the Batmobile?
What?
Robin, get in the Batmobile. Alright, now that's what's called an anti-joke. And the anti-joke is something that leads you in one direction, but the punchline leads you in a completely different place. And that's how I relate this to 20 Time. 20 Time was a project for me to do something that I love, and hopefully I would enjoy it. And 100% that's correct. But the things that I learned and the things that I achieved along the way were more than I could ever imagine. One of the most successful things that I ended up reaching was giving myself a more creative mind. And the reason why a more creative mind is so important in today's society is because it leads to things like Facebook and Microsoft and Apple. However, the want for a more creative mind is outweighed by the need to conform to society. However, there is one way to break out of the jail that is society, and that is to have inspiration. But you cannot just start off with inspiration. You need to have one preliminary step, and then you are ready. And that step is you have to take a step back. You have to take a step back, let others in, and give yourself an evaluation. When you give yourself an evaluation, you're able to see the pros and the cons of whatever you're doing, and you will let others influence you in a positive way. Once you're ready for inspiration, there are 3 ways to get it: from celebrities, those around you, and those who doubt you. So now I'll talk a little bit about my 20 Time project. My project was to make a comic book, and unfortunately that failed, and pretty miserably. The reason is I was doing this during most of the class periods. Alright, obviously not. Most of the problems arise from my lack of artistic capabilities. Besides the misshapen hexagons and dodecagons drawn in my 9th grade geometry class, I really had no experience drawing. But I decided to pick up a pen and just start. And the results were pretty mixed, between bad and worse. Between the crooked house and the toppling buildings, I really didn't see much talent in myself, and already I decided to give up. But instead, I decided to take a step back and evaluate what I was doing. And clearly, a big con was not being able to draw. So I did what any other teenager would do, and I went to the internet. When I went to the internet, I looked for things like how to draw and what's good in a comic book. But instead, I came across a quote. And this is one of the most popular quotes among Spider-Man fans. This quote I used to see as growing up, as a means of growing up, and that freaked me out. But when I saw this quote the second time, I saw it as I have the power to do with whatever I want with my project. And whatever comes of that, whether it's good or bad, is my responsibility. So I went back to my drawing book, and the very next thing I drew was the Taj Mahal. Clearly much better, and that led to other drawings. Because I took a step back and I let others inspire me, I was able to put more creativity into my writing and my drawings. But I knew that I would need more than just some celebrity to help influence my comic book. So I looked to my friends. After coming off my high of my newly found artistic capabilities, I realized that I would have many more problems. And the next problem I had was I needed an idea for my comic book. So when I asked my friends what I should do, they either gave me stupid ideas, or I gave an idea and they said it was fine, even when it really wasn't. So I knew they weren't much help. So then I looked to my family. And when I talked to my family, especially my dad, we came up with a unique idea, and that was a team of vigilantes. And that idea I really didn't like, because I was pretty set on having my superheroes and having an awesome superpower, just like every other comic book. But I took my dad's advice and I took a step back and looked at what I needed to do. And 2 weeks later, I started work on a vigilante team. But not like Superman or Spider-Man or Batman. They were ordinary people that ended up being inspired by my family. However, they were not the only inspiration I had. This quote, even though very silly, it's extremely true. And when I'm talking about my haters, I'm talking about the people who doubt me in what I want to do. Your doubters or haters should really inspire you in what you want to do, because you want to prove to them, but most importantly to yourself, that you can do whatever you want. So my challenge to all of you is to pass on the inspiration. Inspire someone else to do what they want to do, or take a step back and let inspiration flow in so that creativity can flow out. Thank you.